In a land of myth and a time of marriage, we found that adults in the 21st century have found themselves in different little pickles because of the complexities of love that have formed misconceptions about marriage. Now, it is a difficult slope to navigate, a slippery one, if you will. I'm sitting here with someone who helps us have that conversation. For all of you lovers, all of you have been burned by love, and all of you intending lovers, I sit with Coach Adeze and a wealth of experience as we navigate the little landmines that may exist on the journey from loving to tying the knot. So see you in a couple of minutes. Hello there, people of love. Yes, I am standing under some very light showers at the crack of dawn to talk to you about marriage and love. See, what I believe is marriage is the greatest structure ever built on the foundation of love and by the most revered ever architect, God Almighty. And a lot of us have innovated, recreated, and adapted our own marriage structures, and that's perfectly fine. But I would like for us to talk about the foundation. Let us talk about the plan. And so while we may have overlapping experiences, we must go back to the roots and find the thing that connects us all. Ladies and gentlemen, in this season and in the episodes that follow, on African Bridal Experience, the podcast, we will be talking about the marriage blueprint. My name is David Williams, also known as the Big Talker. So, take care. Until next time. So, off the bat, do you think marriage is for everyone? Do you think everyone should get married?
Why are you starting there?
I mean.
Oh, God. I think that marriage is for everyone, but some people are not good at it and should leave it alone. It's a little bit like, great communication is for everyone, but some people it's just not their thing. Great cuisine is for everyone, but some people just have the chicken and chips. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that was a jab if I ever seen one. Okay, yes.
It's a lot of people will do. Marriage is a great thing. Yeah. It's a great institution, but some people are just not willing to give it what it needs. Okay. And there's people that just want to go in and be like, you know what, if we're in love, that it should just work. Whereas it's not the case. And the other flip side to that is, once you're in marriage, do all marriages work? No, they don't. There's some couples that come to me and they're like, listen, we want to call it a day. And I'm like,
yeah, you should.
Yeah, definitely do that. Well, I can't say it out.
But you believe.
But I'm like, I really want help to sort of find my own way. And I'm like, yes, I can help you do that.
You're gonna nudge you when
Do you know what I mean? Because listen, I'm an absolute advocate for marriage. Mm-hmm. Absolute advocate for marriage. I think it's a beautiful institution. Absolutely. I'm for it. But do you know what I'm a greater advocate for? Life. And life in abundance, right? And if your marriage and we've done everything and it is stealing from your life, I'd rather you have the life because you get it once.
I like that.
You get it once.
Because that's healthy, really. That's priority, really. It's not being selfish now, is it?
I'm not into this, let's be martyrs of marriage. We spoke about that behind the scenes. And our forefathers were far more concerned about the length of marriage than they were about the quality of marriage. Yes. I'm less concerned about the length. I'd rather us focus on the quality, because when we get the quality, we're going to get the length.
I like that. I like that being the base. That's good. Because it's like everyone was more concerned about having skin in the game.
Yeah, I suffered for 30 years.
Especially in Nigeria.
You suffered for 30 years? You want me to applaud that? You want me to celebrate you suffering by choice?
Like you chose this life?
You chose that life?
And so, for me as a Christian, I'm like, okay, do you actually believe in Jesus? Because he suffered for you. Why are you suffering again? Do you understand? In my head, I'm like, why would you choose to suffer?
And that wasn't the plan.
Mhm.
And I hate this rhetoric of, God made marriage not for you to enjoy it. It's to be hard. No, it didn't. That wasn't the plan.
Yeah.
But we subscribed to that idea. And I think that many people now are waking up. And I'm so glad to see it, that people are saying, wait a minute. What is this for? What is the purpose of it? Yeah. And does it align with God's will for me? Is God's will for me to suffer and be miserable and be on sleeping tablets and antidepressants and be crying every night? Was that the will? So that then I get to the end just so that I can say I was in this for 45 years, but you cried every night? Nah, I'd be like, listen, it's okay. Go get your life.
So I think it's the same thing that we say to Nigerians that we should say to people like that, is that there is no trophy for suffering.
There's no trophy for it.
There's no suffering Dior. And so it's again, time and again, we tend to be we somehow seem like, at some point suffering is going to be incentivized, or there's a reward for it at the end of the day.
However, there's always a however.
Okay.
There's always a balance with life. Because on the flip side, we've got people who are like, been in the game for 2 years and like, it's just not working out. I'm out of here. And it's finding that thing of, do I suffer for 45 years? But have I really given it what I need to? Have I done the self-work? Have I learned the principles? Have I gotten the right help? Have I done the growth and the change? Have I done that? Do you know what I mean? And so I think we're possibly in a place where we've gone from one extreme, the martyrs of marriage, to the can't take nothing of marriage. You know what I mean? I haven't got any backbone.
That's the extremes.
It's the extreme. Yeah. And I want people to sort of sit more in the middle. I think it's the quality, but being ready to build that quality. Great marriages are not found. They are created. Absolutely. Right? And they're created over time. Great intimacy doesn't just happen. Intimacy is like a fine wine. It gets better and better with the years, right? With time. And so people aren't prepared to put the time in. They're not prepared to put the sweat in, Yeah.
So it is our theme now for this episode is T.R.A.P. Trust, respect, authenticity, and very, very importantly, what is the P, Emmanuel, again? Good. I wanted to say that because we've been very patient with it. We'll get to yeah, but again, looking at those 4 pillars, right? There's so many things that have been said about marriage, but for us now, we feel like those are the pillars. Yeah. Those are the things, because you're bringing in 2 separate entities and 2 separate, let's say, buildings. I put it together, and you're combining 2 structures, and so it needs those pillars to stand. But for me now, I want to get into the foundation with you. What would you say for you personally? Where does the foundation of marriage come from before we even talk about the pillars? Yeah,
commitment has to be the fundamental thing. And people want me to say love, and I'll talk about love in a minute because there's a whole misconception about love. So that's why I'm starting with commitment. Am I making a commitment to spending my life with you? And that commitment to spending my life means the ups and the really rubbish, crappy downs.
I like that, yeah.
Right? And all that's in between. Yeah. Okay? So that commitment is super important. That respect word in that T.R.A.P, again, it looks different for men and women, but it's hyper important, right? Protection. Are we prepared to protect each other? Growth. Am I here for the growth of you? Knowing who you are today, accepting you for who you are today and who you're going to be tomorrow, because everybody's going to change. And then let's talk about this love. And obviously, love is at the very core of a great relationship. Right. But love isn't the skipping through the fields of daisies, right? Love isn't he bought me flowers. Love isn't that he gave me money. That's the expression of love. Love is actually that commitment part, that, man, it doesn't feel good right now, but I'm choosing to love anyway, right? Love is that I'm going to accept the beauty and the warts.
I don't like you right now, but I love you.
But do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I've got to be here for the good and the bad. And then there's the communication part. Can I communicate with this person? And people focus on, well, I was saying all the right things. Yeah, but were you listening to the important parts? Were you listening? right? So they are some of the fundamentals, having shared values, right? Like, do we believe in some of the same things at a core level? Like, we can have completely different views and perspectives, but on a core level, do we have fundamental shared meanings? You know?
No, I like that. And to be very honest with you, this is where the problem exists for a lot of us, is that we believe because it's love, it doesn't have to be difficult.
Let me tell you what I say. Many people have the movie mindset of love, and they say,
yes,
if we love each other, it should work.
Yeah.
That's nonsense. The truth is, if we love each other, we make it work. Yeah, like, I'm going to show up for you. Yeah. I'm going to do the necessary. I'm going to do the self-work. I'm going to be patient and be quiet when I really want to talk right now. I'm going to watch you make this mistake because I don't want to pull you down and pull your self-esteem down. I'm going to go through this mess with you that you created or I created, but we've got to go through it together. I'm going to support your dreams and visions, even if I'm not quite sure. Like, that's the part. We make it work. We make that commitment that even when we're at loggerheads, we're going to fight through until we find a way to make it okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I respect that. And now here's the crux of commitment, right? It is, are we committed to the institution and saying, whatever happens, we owe it to the institution never to separate, or we owe it to each other to be the best for each other. So where do you owe your commitment to?
It's got to be a bit of the both. So you signed the phone contract, you signed it, and you said, I'm committing to paying this phone bill every month. You got to assign to it. And if you don't, things get messy.
Of course.
Right? But then also, I've got to commit to you as a person. I've got to believe who you are. I've got to believe in the core of the person that you are. I've got to look at the future and be like, yeah, I know this guy, I know this woman, and we can do this together. So I've got to be committed to the individual and to the institution. Yeah, if I focus so much on the institution, I'm losing the individual.
Yes, of course.
Do you know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. Yeah. So here's the thing is, and I like that, it's like we're both going into a bar fight. If I'm going to commit, I have to be sure that the person behind me is putting in as much effort as I am.
Right. Oh, I love that. It's like, yeah, we're going in, bro.
Yeah.
Where are you, bro?
It's like ride or die. But does this person know his way around a bike even?
Listen, and you know what? When I speak to men, knowing that is far more important.
Of course. I mean, that's where I'm coming from.
It's far more important. Men place such an emphasis on loyalty. Right?
Yeah.
Women, if you're listening, that's like one of the key things for men. Am I absolutely sure this girl has got my back? You know?
Yeah, when I'm down in the dumps.
Yeah.
Because so here's the thing, and a lot of times you see that men don't want to be vulnerable. Men already have societal expectations.
It's a problem for you people.
Yes. And, it is that I have to be this. But at the moment or the times when I cannot be this, can you be this for me?
Listen, one of the things that people need to understand is, okay, let's do the man-woman thing. Yes. Okay, let's do that. Because I work with couples. I have a load of male clients, but I also have a very specific training for females. Yeah. And one of the things that I say to wives is that your man goes out every day and he puts on a number of different armors, a number of different facades. He has to do it. He's got to be brave and tough and courageous and the boss and the this and the that. When he comes back to you, let your space, your atmosphere, your energy be the place that he can go, I take all of this off. Here, I can be weak. Here I can be indecisive. I can be stupid. I can admit I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Imagine if the person that you love has no place in the world to be that. He has to be false outside, and when he gets home, he has to be false with you. He has to be brave outside, and when he gets home, he has to be brave. Like, he has no space to actually just be like, listen, I'm just a human being winging it out here.
Because it's a facade and it's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
At some point, you're just going to, something has to give.
I see it with my husband. I observe him. I'm like, wow, he has to put this on. So he has to be so strong in so many spaces.
Yeah.
Baby, when you come here, you don't have to do that.
I like that. I like that.
You don't have to do that.
I really do like that. And so now we're going to go to the little controversy that we wanted to go into, right?
Okay.
And so again, like I said, we don't do this. We don't want to do this on the show, but I need to create context for you, for example.
Okay.
And so from the interview or from the quote, it is that Will and Jada. Again, I love Will.
He went there, not Will and Jada.
I love Will. I mean, I don't think there's anything Will could possibly do, as it relates to that could make me think any less of him.
He's a good guy.
Obsessively love him.
Yeah.
An absolute professional. But getting on now, his marriage has been public. It has been the subject of public opinion for everyone is taking their own piece and everyone is. But here's a quote that I want us to be able to just analyze, and we're not analyzing their marriage. It is that Jada says that they have a commitment and they say, you know what, whatever happens, we're not going to divorce. We're not going to be divorcees. And they've been separated since 2016. They've not been man and wife since then. And while we create and we encourage couples to be authentic in their marriage and shut out the world and not let the world define how they go about their love and their commitment to each other, where do we draw the line on saying, you know what, this is borderline insanity? That's what I really want to know.
It is borderline insanity, but it's an insanity that works for them.
Okay.
I'm not going to be the person that says, hey, listen, if you're going to be separated for that long, go and get a divorce. For some reason, they are saying, we want to still hold on to this marriage. Fair enough, they're holding on by their toenails, but they're holding on. And I think that what's difficult is for people looking in, we only get a snapshot. Even worse, we're just on social media getting little sound bites here and there.
Yeah, of course. Yes, that's it.
Do you know what I mean? So we don't know really the intricacies of what's going on with them.
Absolutely.
The other thing is that it's easy to look at someone's lives and say, well, this is a full stop.
Yeah.
This is how they're living. This is the end. But actually, it's a blip in their whole marital experience. Absolutely. So is it ideal? No. Would I encourage it? If they were my clients, I'd be like, what are you guys doing? Come on, get back together. Let's work this out together. Okay. Genuinely, that would be my advice to them. But at the end of the day, the two people have to make the choices for themselves. And I'm not going to, there's a level of respect that I have for them for saying, let's try and hold on to this marriage. Whether that means they're going about it the right way is a different thing.
Yes.
They could do with some help about going about it a better way.
Yeah.
But saying, let's still hold on to this, I've got to give them props for that.
I like that. Respects to you. And there's something you said, and it reminded me of when I found the meaning of the semicolon tattoo. Okay. And so for people who are survivors of suicide, the semicolon represents the end of something, but not the full stop.
Love that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I found that out. And so I don't think that same sympathy is extended towards people who are married.
No.
And do you think that that's a societal problem, or people should, you know what, we're going to keep it out of the line of sight of everyone else, and we'll give ourselves that semicolon when we need to?
Listen, you have to be careful who you do let in.
Yeah. Okay.
People have a lot to say. Listen, I put a post on Facebook just yesterday, actually, and I just asked the question, why are men less likely to forgive infidelity? It was just a question to stir up conversation, see where people are at, what people's thoughts are. And somebody came on and like, you are condoning infidelity, right? It is wrong, it is wrong, it is wrong. Don't even mention it. Don't even bring conversation about it. If someone has committed infidelity, that is the end, full stop. And I find that to be so naive. Because life just doesn't work that way.
Absolutely not.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when you're bringing somebody into your situation, you have to be careful, because they may see your situation as the full stop when it's just part of the story. And this is why I'd always advise people as well, when you're going through things, be careful who you let in, be careful who you talk to, be careful who you tell, because while you're like, yeah, it's over, this is it, I'm sick of it, and he did this, and she did that, and he did this, they're taking that as final. And then when you go back and say, well, actually, we've worked it out, they've not let it go.
Of course, because no, that's an actual
They've not
truth.
let it go.
Yeah, of course not. Your friends hold the grudges that you've let go.
You've let go. And then on top of that now, when you would have let go earlier, now you're concerned about everybody else. What are they going to think? I'm going to look weak. I'm going to look stupid. And my friends wouldn't expect me to forgive. So let me just stay angrier for longer because that's what is expected. I'm telling you now, the less people involved in your marriage, the healthier your marriage will be.
Absolutely. I like that. And now let's dive into a little personal.
Yeah, let's go personal.
Let's go personal for a bit. I and the Little Mary band of stalkers that make up the pre-production.
You guys really worry me.
The Merry Little band of stalkers that make up the pre-production team of African Bridal Experience. We went down a rabbit hole on your page. Yes, and I think we could tell from just assessment, and you're able to perceive these things, that the way you handle couples and the way you handle marriage as a law or as a guiding principle it feels very personal. It's not robotic for you. It's not cerebral for you, although yes, there are parts of it that you use the science to, but I'm trying to get into your marriage now.
Yeah.
What's it like for you now, and what's it been like, the journey, because you've been together for 22 years?
I've been with Mr. C, the love of my life, for 22 years.
God willing.
We have been married for 18. We have 3 teenage boys. My eldest is 18. Youngest is 13. Yeah. And I now describe my marriage, and Mr. C describes our marriage as our greatest blessing. We do way too much just to be together alone. Just like, how can we get rid of these kids? Whose idea were they?
It's like, you have grandparents this way.
Yeah. We really, really do enjoy it. But the reason that I'm so passionate about what I do is because it wasn't that wasn't the full stop. Like, this is where we are now, but we had a past. And that past, if you would have asked me years ago, I would have said my marriage was my personal hell. We had serious communication issues. We had so much conflict. I was at Deeper Life Church, and I met Mr. C in a club. Go figure. For those of you who know Deeper Life, it was like hyper stripped. So the fact that I met my husband in a club, just go and figure. And we were together for 4 years, and then I got pregnant, and it was like, in Deeper Life Church, thou must get married. We didn't put up a fight. We've been talking about it anyway, but we got married, and then was like, crap.
How old were you when you got married?
25.
Okay.
We met when we were 21.
Yeah.
Got married at 25, had my son at 26. Yeah. But and I find lots of couples do this, we completely underestimated the difference between being girlfriend and boyfriend and husband and wife. Yeah. And we just were not prepared for that transition at all. And nobody put their hand up to say, hey, by the way,
you're going to need this and this. No guidebook.
Nobody did that for us.
Yeah.
So we found ourselves going from being this, skippy, happy girlfriend, boyfriend to resentful, completely disappointed, frustrated, angry couple that couldn't talk to each other, had so much conflict. He was out all night. I was verbally abusive. It was just awful. And then that came to a head where I found out that there was infidelity as well. And that completely just shattered everything. And I always describe it like this. I describe it like my world was made out of glass and someone just came with a hammer and just smashed it. Everything that I thought was the truth, all that I believed in, the future, everything gone, right? And at that stage, even before then, life was so hard that I remember praying, and my prayers were ugly prayers. My prayers were, Lord, get me out of this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not even help me or save my mind. They were like, get me out of this. Make a way of escape for me. And there was a time that I prayed a prayer, and I was like, Lord, by any means necessary, get rid of him.
Even death?
I meant it. Just somehow, some way, get me out of this. Times so dark when I looked at him and said, I hate you. And he looked at me and said, I hate you too. And so when the infidelity came back out, it was like, obviously there's no way coming back from this. I mean, we literally hate each other at this point. No way can we build a trust. No way can we be intimate again. Like, it's just impossible. And I was from the school of thought, power to the women. Once a cheat, always a cheat. If he ever cheats, so I'm never taking it back. All of that. Kick him right to the curb. So, I'm a pastor's kid. So when my parents are saying, what do you want to do now? I'm like, Dad, Mom, the Lord has made a way of escape for me.
Yeah. And you had every justification.
I had biblical justifications, but I was like, I am done. To go into how we decided to start again is a whole nother story, but we did. And let me tell you that about 6 years later, we were sitting back in bed and we were like, oh my God. Imagine if we would have let this go. I mean, this is so good. This is so, and it had been so, I mean, we couldn't say that in year one because we were building and healing. And in year two, we're like, oh, this is nice. Yeah. And we really just built this. We were so intentional about the creation. It was like a marriage by design. Like, if I could say, it was a Louis Vuitton marriage. Like, we created it.
A Build-A-Bear kind of marriage.
Literally, like, we created our own marriage contract. This is what I need to be fulfilled. This is what I need. So this is what I'm going to do. Every anniversary, every Valentine's, we went out on a date. We would bring that contract. We were like, we are building this.
It's on ink and paper.
Listen, I could go and grab it in my house right now. Right? It is there. We literally created it. So 6 years later, we were basking in our love and we're like, wow, what would have happened if we would have let this go? And that's where the journey started for me, where we were both like, this is almost like we had cancer and we've discovered the cure. Why wouldn't we share this? I wonder how many other couples have been in the hell that we've been in and let it go because they didn't know that actually you can turn things around with intentional, aligned, principle-based action. Absolutely, you can. And it was so funny because we were like, we had nobody. And I know why we had nobody, because nobody was set free enough from the hurt. Nobody was set free enough from the shame. We weren't ashamed. We were like, no way have we done this.
Yeah, no, of course, I get that.
This is like a whole testimony. So guess what we decided to do? I was like, babe, I'm going to go live. I'm going to share this on Facebook. He was like, do you know what? If it helps one couple, do it. If you look at his Facebook, Instagram, like, he's rubbish. He's not that guy. He's not that guy. I'm the one.
We see it. we see it.
Right? So I went out and I was like, hey guys, guess what? We went from infidelity. We went from verbal abuse. We went from hating each other to creating this amazing, beautiful, thriving, sustained, passionate, loving marriage. You can do it too. Guess what I got? You fool. You're the doormat. He's going to do it again.
Oh, yeah. No. You know what? Women supporting women. But you know what? No.
In the midst of all of that public negative reaction, there was private, please help me. I'm in the same situation. Please share more. How can we do this? Thank you for sharing your story. And that's where it began for us.
Yeah, that did a number on me. that does something to you. I mean, and that's all the validation. You weren't looking for public approval.
No, it was genuinely a hey, like, this can help you.
Can I help you?
13 years since all of that mess, and we're just crazy in love.
What do you wish you were told at 25, pregnant, and just, you know what, I'm just going to marry the love of my life out of duty?
I wish I was told to get absolutely clear on the marriage that we want to create. That's the core thing. I wish I was told that. I wish we were told to really see, tap into ourselves and know, actually, we want a marriage like this. We want to be able to communicate like this. We want this kind of intimacy. We want this, we want that. And then to know that it's me and you. Every single choice, action, habit, behavior, reaction, response, every single part is creating that marriage. I wish I was told that marriage is just like a bag. If I put a load of makeup in it, it's going to be a makeup bag. If I put a load of tools, take all the makeup out, put tools in it, suddenly it's going to be a tool bag. I wish I was told there is no such thing as a bad marriage. There's no such thing as an unhealthy marriage. There's no such thing as a toxic marriage. There are unhealthy people. There are people exhibiting bad behaviors. There are people that are exhibiting toxic behaviors that then go ahead and create the marital experience. But marriage is just marriage. And so when I'm only responding like this and you using verbal abuse because of what you did, I was putting in verbal abuse, toxicity in the marriage.
Back into it, yeah.
When I was super defensive and not being vulnerable, right, and caged off because I was like, well, I'm not going to let no man, I was putting that in the marriage. Withdraw, we can't talk to each other. When he was like, well, since we can't talk, I'm going out all night, we were putting that into that. And all of that was creating our marital experience.
Okay, and so this conversation, we will let it run for a whole day or 2 whole days or 48 hours if we could, but we have to take a short break to be able to satisfy our sponsors, keep the lights on and pay the bills. So I'll see you in 60 seconds.
Hi, my name is Ebuka Anichebe, and today on the Africa Bridal Experience, we're going to be talking about communication, especially how you can get what you want without starting the fight. Now, your husband comes in late and very soon you're like, every time you're always coming back late, perpetual late comer, only bats, rats, foxes, and you moves at night. No, that's not how you get him to change. You're just nagging. He would rather be up on the roof, right, than be in bed with you. So what's the best way to do this? You want to approach him softly and say something like, I always feel lonely, or I feel forgotten, or I feel abandoned when you don't come back home and you don't tell me about your whereabouts. And when you tell him how you feel, he has nothing to defend himself about. He has to tell you, oh, sorry about that. I will do this better. So next time, focus on how you feel as opposed to pointing accusing fingers of what somebody else did to you. Otherwise, the communication just breaks down and he becomes defensive. And that's not getting you what you want. I hope this helps you make your marriage better. Thank you.
And we are back. Before the break, we were talking about marriage is a trap with Coach Adeze. And unfortunately, all good things, especially the good things, find a way to come to an end. And while we wind down the clock, we're going to talk about some very important things. We are back with Coach Adeze. Hi, Coach Adeze.
Hey.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I've been enjoying it. You're kind of cool to hang out with.
Thank you. No, but you are even better. I mean, your kids must be, they are lucky. Let me just put it that way, because everybody deserves a fun mom. My mom is fun, but my mom thinks she's fun more than she actually is fun.
My kids would probably say the same thing, to be honest.
But I love you, mommy. You know I love you. But anyways, getting into it, right? So we have to wind down, but unfortunately, I don't want this to end, but we have to. But here's my question. Okay. You know, you've talked about the foundation of your faith starting from deeper life, and you're getting into it now. I want to know what your faith is like now, especially as it relates to your marriage and how you grew from where you were to where you are now.
Yeah, my faith is the bedrock, the linchpin, the constant. How it looks now is different because, you know, being raised in deeper life. I'm sorry, deeper life, but it was a lot of fear. It was a fear relationship. It was do this or else go to hell. Do this otherwise be punished. Do this otherwise, it was trying to fit into this flock, into this idea, this particular doctrine, and I literally for years I spent so much time trying to fit.
Yes.
Trying to work towards just so that I avoid this place of hell. Not even so I get into heaven, just to avoid hell. Yeah. And actually what happened to me was I went through this whole thing where I pulled away. I'm saying I pulled away. I really do recognize that it was God that pulled me away and to shift my understanding. Absolutely. And I thought that I had completely lost faith. I thought I was like completely against Christianity. And I went on this whole discovery journey and what happened was that I realized that, oh my God, I actually have all this. Now I've let go of the judgment and the fear. All that was left was love and faith. And I was like, oh, I'm not jaded with Christ. I'm jaded with this man-made church bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so now my walk is very much in line with love, in line with faith, in line with abundance. I disalign myself with fear. I disalign myself with lack and all of that I was raised in, right? And so even in my marriage, that's what shows up. You know, I could stay in the place of, but what if he does it again? And what if that happens? And what if this happens? But my walk with Christ now forces me to look at my desire and faith and love. So it's like, oh my gosh, let me think on those things that are good, that are praiseworthy, that are noble. What if it ends up amazing? What amazing thing that we're building. How great is this? How can I stay grateful for my marriage? And that is one of the key things that I teach my clients. Stay focused on the good. Look for the good, because as a man thinks, so he is, so he creates, so he manifests. So when I stay thinking of those things that are good, that are noble, and allowing that to renew my mind, guess what I create? This amazing, beautiful experience in marriage.
I like that. I like that so much. And as much as I want to expand on that, I have to be careful for time, because that's again is another well that we could. But again, we'll have that. And again, for those of you who want more, best believe that Coach Adeze is accessible at any time. She's someone who is readily, willing to pour out her life experiences, who she is, into anyone who's willing to ask. But what I want to take as a final question, it's going to be a little more fun, but it's going to take us back to
scared.
But it's going to be a little more fun. It's more say therapy exercise or psychology exercise. I don't know what it is, but it's something I really enjoy seeing. And so I want to use our theme for this episode. Right. And we're going to play a little game. Are you ready?
I don't know.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to play with T.R.A.P. Right? So we've said T.R.A.P is trust, respect, authenticity, and patience. Okay. And so when it comes to your idea or your ideals of marriage, I'm going to say each of those words, and you're going to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay. As to what, again, the healthy thing that people have to take. It can be one word, it can be a phrase, it can be a sentence, right?
But it's got to be short, right? Because I'll start talking.
Yes. Are you ready? Yes, that's the game. That's how it has to be. Right. So first thing that comes to your mind is quick fire. Okay. Are you ready? Yeah. Clock is ticking. Okay. And your time starts now. Right. Trust.
Bedrock.
Oh. Respect.
Love.
Patience. I had to switch
growth.
It up. Oh. Authenticity.
True expression and freedom of expression.
Yeah. Only you would do that. I think I've begun to accept that in this reality, only you would do that. Only you would do this the way you've done it. And I'm so grateful that I've had this conversation. Oh,
it's been
you.
Awesome. You've made me get proper English. It's been
awesome. Yeah. I mean, of course, don't ever be ashamed of your accent. I mean, if I talk like that, I'd never show up.
Not sure.
Yeah, right. So basically, the point of all of this is, what I'm trying to say is, I'm grateful that those who would need it, and I know that, even if it's not now, but anytime anybody sees this, they can always have a reference point. I'm grateful for the ministry you have, and I'm intentionally calling it a ministry because you have your basics rooted in your faith, and I'm grateful that you have that. And for those of you who are watching, Coach Adeze is going to share with us some very essential tips, just some things to guide us. These are not rules for life. These are not condescending things. These are just things that would be able to help you as you begin your journey, whatever it is. They're just basics. You choose how you use them. And if ever you need to come back to be able to tap from the source, She is always available. So Coach Daisy, we're going to have you do the tips in a bit. But thank you, of course, for talking to us.
Bless you.
I'm so grateful.
Here are 3 tips that are going to help bring radical transformation to your marriage or help you create the marriage of your desire. Tip number 1, improve communication by focusing on listening to understand as opposed to listening to defend yourself. And you know that you do that when you guys are talking, you're thinking about how to defend yourself. I want you to stop that and take the time to listen to understand your partner. Number 2, reduce conflict by focusing on responding with wisdom as opposed to reacting with confusion. You see, when you're just reacting with confusion, you don't know what's going on. You're literally just reacting in the moment, and you're not getting the opportunity to consider the wise response that's going to get you to the conclusion that you want to get to. And here's number 3, and this is really key. I want you to consider what I call my double E formula. Men are ego, women are emotions. Men are ego, women are emotions. Women, if you want to connect deeply with your partner, you need to understand, respect, and honor the male ego. I know that sounds controversial, but it is a fact that men operate from the place of their ego. And men, if you want to connect deeply with your woman, understand that from head to toe, she's operating from her emotions. It's a God-given gift. Connect with her on an emotional level. Put your logic to the side sometimes and actually give her the space to be emotional with you and connect with you on that level. In that place, you will find harmony in your relationship. So these are 3 tips that I know absolutely helped me in my marriage and will absolutely help you in yours. Remember that marriage is only what you create it. You guys create what your marital experience to be. And my desire for you is that you have a thriving, happy, exciting, passion-filled, sustained marriage.
It is very, very scarce and far and few between that you find me at the end of an episode at a loss for my words, not knowing how to piece together all of the information, all of the knowledge, and all of the magic that I pick up from whoever it is that I get to share thoughts with. The truth is that this was just beyond talk. This was beyond me trying to get something out of someone. This was a journey. This was an experience. And I hope it's the same for you. And I hope that the next time the conversation of marriage comes up to you and you do think it is a trap, you do think you're being lured into something that is too much or you're just not ready for, let your trap be the 4 words that we've used to define our episode. Let it be that you've based your relationship on trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the institution and what you can build together. Respect for each other, respect for the power, the higher power that you've submitted yourselves to. And that you're authentic to each other and to whatever experiences and the journey that you wish to create. And finally, that you have the patience to be able to see it through after the excitement of the moment has passed. I hope that your character is built and your love is strengthened. My name is David Williams, your big talker. And so take care. Until next time.